I've had enough of their relentless torment. Mike and his damn mother, Linda, have made my life a living hell. But I'm done being their doormat. It's time for a plan that'll turn the tables on them, and they'll finally pay for the misery they've put me through. My name is Sarah, and I'm 44 years old. Let me tell you a story about a series of events that turned my life upside down. It all started with my husband, Mike, and his mother, Linda. You see, I've been in a rather challenging relationship with my husband for some time. Mike and I met at a party when I was just 20, and we instantly hit it off. 3 months later, he confessed his feelings, and we started dating. A year after that, on my 21st birthday, he proposed, and we got married. Life was supposed to be a fairy tale, just as I had dreamed during my school days. But as you'll soon discover, life rarely goes as planned. Sarah, is dinner ready yet? Did you make the bed? Mike always asks when he comes home from work. Sometimes I can't help but wonder if he sees me as nothing more than a maid. Sorry, I got a bit tied up. I'll get everything ready now. Don't you think about how tired I am after work? I deal with so much stress to provide for our family. And remember, I'm a manager. Whenever something didn't go his way, Mike would rant about being a manager and make snide remarks. He was nothing like this when we first got married. People often ask if I'm okay with how he behaves, but the truth is, it's unbearable. Still, I appreciate the fact that he brings in the money. Thanks to Mike's good salary, we've never had financial troubles. But if I challenged him wrongly and he retorted, "You're defying me?" Fine, I'll stop contributing to the house. I wouldn't know what to do, so even if he says too much sometimes, I try to tolerate it. But I wish he'd help out a little. It was the same when our child was born. I'm busy with work, I'm tired, always some excuse. So I've handled all the household and childcare duties by myself. But there's another source of stress, my mother-in-law, Linda. Sarah, did you clean this properly? What are you planning for dinner tonight? Surely not some takeaway. Whenever my mother-in-law visits, she's always like this, constantly looking for my mistakes and never hesitating to criticize. Both mother and son act similarly, just like the saying, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And today, she started again. Sarah, how many times have I told you to clean the house every day to make it comfortable for my son? Why don't you? Are you ignoring my advice on purpose? This is why I was against my son marrying someone like you. You can't even manage the house properly. Constant criticism from Mike and my mother-in-law, and I endure it all with a smile. But there's one thing I just can't overlook, my mother-in-law's gambling habit. Hold on a second. Whose money do you think you're using? The money my mother-in-law spends on gambling comes from our household savings. I've brought this up to Mike multiple times, but he always comes up with excuses. Hey, could you tell Mom? I mean, I could tell her, but if I do, I think she'd be really shocked. Plus, I'm so busy with work, I don't think I can discuss it calmly. Why can't a mother use the money her son earns? He told me I can use as much as I want. She retorted, thinking that Mike would back her up. I say Mike feels the same way. Could you please stop using our household savings without asking, right, honey? But Mike interjects, what are you talking about? The household savings are for all three of us. Excluding only Mom is wrong. Sorry, Mom. Don't listen to her. She's lying. You can use the money as you always have. This is how Mike always changes his story depending on who he's talking to. Moreover, he started blaming me for his mother's gambling habits, saying they worsened after we got married 3 months ago. That's just not true. Even before our marriage, my mother-in-law was gambling frequently. Whenever I went shopping, I'd see her coming out of the local poker club. But when I bring this up to Mike, he accuses me of lying and then ignores the issue. He'll never see his mother's true colors. These remarks keep coming and I'm getting fed up. Oh, look at the time. I should get going. Going? Wait, Mom, you didn't forget about our plan, right? How are the preparations? Yes, they're well underway. What plan? What are these two up to? I'm taken aback by Mike's sudden question and try to figure out their scheme. With that, my mother-in-law, Linda, humming a tune, leaves in high spirits. At last she's gone, I think to myself. I look over and Mike is grinning from ear to ear, waving until his mother is out of sight. A week later, I finally understood the meaning behind Mike's words about preparations. Have a good day! As usual, Mike leaves for work without responding to my farewell. While most couples would greet each other with smiles, that warmth is long gone between us. I gaze out the window and see a neighboring family looking so happy as they walk by. I remember the days when my son and I used to go for walks just like that. Lost in my thoughts in the morning, the doorbell rings. Yes, who is it? Oh, it's you, mother-in-law. Wait, where's Mike? I wasn't expecting her to show up today, especially not this early in the morning. Oh, something came up at his work, so he had to go in unexpectedly. I see. Why on earth is she here? She's not expecting to have breakfast with me, is she? No way she would think of doing that. Or would she? A flurry of thoughts about my mother-in-law raced through my mind. Then she says, "Why are you standing there looking so blank? Get things ready." Ready for what? I haven't eaten anything since this morning. I'm hungry. So, make me breakfast. Make sure this doesn't happen again. What does she mean by from now on? The words "get ready" that Mike mentioned earlier and my mother-in-law's "from now on" phrase make me uneasy. For some reason, I had a terrible feeling about this. Feeling anxious about their comments, my mother-in-law pressures me to make breakfast. I apologize and start preparing the meal. Meanwhile, my mother-in-law observes me, not even blinking, more like monitoring than observing. Maybe it's hard to do under her piercing gaze. I silently and earnestly prepare the breakfast. Suddenly, my mother-in-law says, "It's pitiful to think my son eats this poorly presented food every day. It looks terrible and probably tastes just as bad. I'd love to know how you manage to cook so poorly." She ridicules me, mockingly laughing and complaining, "Why do I have to hear this first thing in the morning?" What was supposed to be a pleasant morning felt as if it had turned into a downpour. "Sorry for the wait. It took you long enough. How much time do you need for a meal like this? Maybe you should attend a cooking class. Then you might be able to cook something decent." So even then, it'd be like getting a D instead of an F, having a meal alone with my mother-in-law for the first time. Seeing her stern face while eating, I lost my appetite. The meal I put so much effort into tasted bland. Suddenly, my mother-in-law set down her fork, stating, "I don't even feel like eating this. Clear it away." I'm sorry. I just can't take this anymore. I wish she'd leave sooner, but little did I know my wish would be shattered in no time. The phone call interrupts the tense atmosphere. Wiping away my tears, I answer the call. The voice on the other end is familiar, and it sends a shiver down my spine. Oh, a call from the most unexpected person. The familiar voice echoes in my ear as I hear my son, Eric, on the other end. After graduating from college, Eric took a job at a company near our family home, choosing to live with his grandparents to avoid the chaotic atmosphere at our place. "It has been indeed," I reply, my voice trembling. "Have you been well?" "Yeah, I'm good. Granddad and Granny are also doing well. We're all getting along." Eric knew about the challenging situation at home, and his concern for me is palpable. "When will you come to visit? It's been years since you last did. The two of them really want to see you." "I'm sorry, Eric. I've been so busy and just couldn't make it to the family home." "Busy with what? Isn't it because of Dad and Grandmother?" He hits the nail on the head, and my silence speaks volumes. The reason I couldn't visit was indeed because of those two. Mike didn't like the idea of me visiting my parents, as he only saw me as a housekeeper. He had this ridiculous notion that I should always be taking care of the home, and my mother-in-law shared the same view, always expecting me to tend to the house. So I felt trapped, unable to leave and just living within the confines of our home. It felt like I was a bird caged up. Eric knew this. He once visited this house and remembered the words of Mike and my mother-in-law. "Listen, Mom, you deserve better. You don't have to put up with all this. You're not alone, and you can find a way out of this." Eric's words became the lifeline I needed for my hellish life. From the next day, while Mike was at work, I started implementing what Eric had told me to do, being cautious not to let Mike notice and always vigilant for the often unexpectedly appearing mother-in-law. There were a few close calls. "Hey, have you been up to something lately?" Mike's suspicion was rising. "Why do you ask?" "Mom mentioned it. She said you've been acting differently. You're not cheating on me, are you?" Last time, I was saved by Mike, but now I needed to be more careful. "You know when grandmother is moving in, right? She's moving in the day after tomorrow. I overheard them talking about it when they were in a good mood. I have to make sure they pay for everything they've done to me. The climax is approaching. The morning my mother-in-law is set to arrive. Don't slack off just because I'm not around. Also, help Mom with the luggage when she gets here and keep the house clean. Mom said she won't forgive even a speck of dust." "I understand." After seeing Mike off, I start to put our plan into action. "Make sure to do it perfectly. We need everything to go smoothly," Eric advises. I nod and get to work. With determination, I make sure every detail is in place. I need this plan to work to free myself from this torment. The clock ticks away, and with each passing second, my heart races. The moment is almost here. And then, finally, I see the car pulling up to our driveway, and my mother-in-law steps out with a look of impatience. She's been eagerly waiting for this day, but she has no idea what's about to unfold. As I open the door to greet my mother-in-law, Linda, her face shows a mixture of impatience and annoyance. She's never been one for pleasantries, and I can sense that her judgmental gaze is already scanning the cleanliness of our home. "Sarah, what took you so long to open the door?" she demands. "I apologize, Linda. I didn't expect you to arrive so early." She ignores my apology and pushes past me, entering the house. It's as if she owns the place. "I hope everything's ready as I instructed," she says with a critical eye, already examining the surroundings. "Of course, Linda. Everything is in order." The truth is, I've meticulously prepared everything according to my plan. Every detail has been considered, and I can't help but feel a sense of satisfaction in knowing that I'm finally taking control of my life. Linda takes a seat in the living room and immediately starts scrutinizing her surroundings. It's clear that she expects the house to be spotless, but she has no idea that I've intentionally left a few minor imperfections designed to spark her temper. A few minutes pass, and Linda continues her inspection, making comments about the smallest flaws. She ridicules everything, from the positioning of the furniture to the arrangement of the curtains. "It's pitiful to think my son has to live in a place like this," she sneers, making a show of how displeased she is with everything. I bite my tongue, trying to keep my emotions in check. This is all part of the plan, and I can't afford to lose my nerve now. Eventually, I serve her a less than perfect breakfast, as we discussed. Linda's dissatisfaction continues as she picks at her food and criticizes my cooking. "How could my son eat this? It's dreadful," she complains. The discomfort in the room is palpable, and I can't help but feel a sense of triumph deep down. My plan is unfolding just as I envisioned, and I can see the frustration building within Linda. She continues to make sarcastic remarks about everything, and as time goes on, I can see her agitation growing. Her anger is simmering beneath the surface, and she's itching to lash out. Just as she's about to reach her breaking point, my phone rings. It's Mike. I answer the call and try to maintain a composed voice. "Hey, Mom's there, right? Let me talk to her." I hand the phone to Linda, who takes it with a puzzled expression. I can tell she wasn't expecting Mike to call so soon. After a brief conversation with Mike, Linda hangs up the phone and throws it back at me. "You told me we discussed that matter, making me come over so early. Now you say you're at work. What's going on?" I can see the anger in her eyes, and she's clearly frustrated with the situation. "Sorry, something came up. I'll be back before noon. Just relax till then. Hurry up. Being with her is just stressful," Mike explains. I can't help but feel a mix of relief and anxiety. Mike's reaction wasn't as severe as I anticipated. Linda, on the other hand, is livid. She's upset with Mike for leaving her here with me, and she makes her displeasure known. After a tense few hours, Mike returns home from work, and Linda immediately confronts him. "Sorry, Mom. Are you ready?" he asks. "Yes, just need to pack my things." "Pack? What for? Mike drops a bombshell that catches both Linda and me off guard. From now on, Mom will live here too. The shock hits me like a tidal wave. I always thought it would be just the two of us living here, but now my mother-in-law is moving into our home. The mere thought of it terrifies me. Living a life constantly receiving snide remarks from Mike and my mother-in-law every day is unbearable. Mom, I'll help you move on my next day off. That would be helpful. Linda is already on edge, and my comment sends her into a frenzy. Don't bring her along. We don't need someone useless, Linda snarls. Don't worry, it'll just be me. The shocking twist has left my mind blank, and I can't process the information. I watch as Mike and Linda leave for dinner alone, pondering the future and how I'll coexist with the two of them. Amid my thoughts, I wonder if I'm just supposed to endure everything or if there's another way. The same thoughts keep replaying, but no answers come to mind. Lost in my despair, I feel tears spilling down my cheeks.